United, they lead 4-3. This is quite astonishing.
Manchester United with another glorious night in the Champions League. Into Maguire's
Manchester United are known for their dramatic comebacks, and so today I want to relive the magic that only they are able to produce in some of the club's most iconic moments in history, starting with arguably the most hectic of them all. It was United's worst season in history. In the Premier League, they were guaranteed to be finishing in the bottom half of the table, yet in Europe, they were the only unbeaten team left. And so following an away 2-2 draw against Lyon in the quarter-final first leg of the Europa League, thanks to some Andre Onana blunders, United had to find a way to win at Old Trafford to have any hope of somewhat saving this terrible season. And well, they started off strong. The football was flowing, 2 first-half goals, one from Ugarte following a fantastic Garnacho cutback, then another from Dalot right at the end of the half. Just like that, it looked like United were cruising their way into a semi. But as the commentators most eloquently said before the game even kicked off,
history tells you they don't always do it the easy way.
And well, they weren't wrong, because then United did what they've been doing too often. They switched off. First, it was Tolisso, a bit of heads and volleys in the box, and suddenly Lyon had a lifeline. Then came Tagliafico. Even if Onana had saved it, Lacazette was there anyway. Thus, just like that, 6 minutes, 2 goals, United's lead gone. But the Red Devils were thrown a lifeline. Albeit harshly, Tolisso did get a second yellow and Lyon were down to 10. The fans thought that was the break they needed. It wasn't. Instead, Lyon pushed harder and began to totally dominate the game. Cherki slotted one past the keeper early into extra time to then suddenly take the lead. To make matters even worse, Luke Shaw then gave away a penalty, allowing Lacazette to step up, cool as you like, and make it 4-2 to Lyon on aggregate. The entire team celebrated, believing they had secured their place in the semi-finals. As for United, what looked like a confident, dominant night at first had turned into one of the biggest collapses in recent memory. Fans were furious, with many leaving the stadium. But just when it all seemed over, a teeny bit of hope was presented to them. Penalty United. Bruno Fernandes got his moment. He stepped up to the spot and buried it. Suddenly, the stadium had life again, but the clock was still ticking. Enter Kobbie Mainoo. He was thrown on late, playing out of position as a makeshift number 9, yet he still did what he does best. Tight spaces, clutch moments, quick feet, bottom corner. Old Trafford erupted. It was 4-4. Up next, penalties. Or at least, it would have been. However, mere moments later, whilst most fans were still celebrating Kobbie's equaliser, up stepped the man, the meme, the legend, Harry Maguire. He was another makeshift number 9, yet got his head on the end of an inch-perfect Casemiro cross to seal the victory and cement his name forever in the history of Manchester United, making the final score 5-4. But whilst both Mainoo and Maguire will of course be remembered for their goals, Casemiro deserves a mention for being the engine behind the entire comeback. He assisted both goals perfectly and won the penalty for Bruno. Nonetheless, in a matter of minutes when all hope looked lost, United had delivered one of the most special comebacks in their history. Talking of special comebacks, there's probably none more iconic than this next one. It was 1999, the Champions League final versus Bayern Munich. A treble on the line, the first of its kind in English football. It was supposed to be a dream, but it was looking more like a nightmare, as in just 6 minutes it all started to slip away. Bayern won a free kick on the edge of the box, Basler steps up and Schmeichel is rooted to the spot. 1-0. United were behind, and Bayern weren't just ahead, they were organised, ruthless and relentless. Yes, United had more of the ball, but every pass, every cross, every half chance resulted in nothing. By half-time, the game already looked lost, and the break before the second half didn't really help much either. Within seconds, Bayern were on the front foot again. However, a rare chance did fall to Blomqvist, but he sent it over the bar. And so, just like that, Fergie had seen enough. Blomqvist off, Sheringham on. With it came a reshuffle, Giggs to the left, Beckham back out wide, York dropping deep, and it worked. For about 5 minutes, because then Scholl came on for Bayern and nearly chipped Schmeichel from outside the box, which is when Sir Alex Ferguson made his final roll of the dice. Solskjaer on for Cole. 10 minutes left. With every remaining second that passed, the tension got even higher, until the final moments approached and all United fans collectively thought it was over. They were gonna lose. But then, in the 90th minute, the Reds won a corner. Beckham whipped it in, narrowly missing Schmeichel before a poor Bayern clearance fell straight to Giggs, whose effort was steered in first time by Teddy Sheringham. Suddenly, 30 seconds into stoppage time, United had equalised. But the best part was, they weren't done. Right after the restart, United pressed again. Solskjaer's cross was deflected, giving them one last chance. Once again, Beckham whips it in as Sheringham connects with the ball, sending it straight onto the boot of Solskjaer, who sends it rifling into the roof of the net. 2-1. Solskjaer gives us one of the most iconic celebrations in the history of the game as he slides on his knees. Meanwhile, Schmeichel cartwheels. The fans were on top of the world, whereas the Bayern players couldn't believe it. In a matter of minutes, they had seen what would have been the night of their lives be torn away from them in the most unforeseen circumstances. The kind of which that would be repeated for eternity, making a night that all love to forget be forever etched into their memory. It was the game where the world learned that Manchester United were capable of making the impossible possible. Up next, we head to White Hart Lane, where a routine league match between Spurs and United was being played out, or so it seemed. By half-time, the Red Devils found themselves to be 3-0 down, all thanks to a debut goal from Dean Richards, a second from Les Ferdinand, and on the stroke of half-time, another by Christian Ziege. It was a disaster, but as the commentator pointed out,
History of this fixture teaches you not to believe it's anything like over yet.
And he wasn't wrong. And well, within 60 seconds of the second half, the comeback was on. Gary Neville whips in a cross, Andy Cole scores. 3-1, United smelled blood. A little over 10 minutes later, Beckham swings in a corner and Laurent Blanc meets it. 3-2, Tottenham was starting to panic, as then came a rude bullet header to level the score. White Hart Lane fell silent. But United weren't happy yet. They wanted all 3 points. And so, just minutes later, Ollie plays in Varane, who slots it home and gives the Reds the lead. All before Ollie bagged himself another assist, this time for David Beckham to win the game 5-3, giving the fans one of the most famous Premier League comebacks of all time. We move to the Champions League next though, to the Parc des Princes, a night no one expected anything from, because United were finished before it even kicked off. They were down 2-0 from the first leg with no Paul Pogba, no Martial, no Lingard, no Matic, and a bench stacked with teenagers. It was a mountain to climb, but as Ollie said,
mountains are there to be climbed, aren't they?
Thus, 2 minutes in, Lukaku pounces on a poor pass, rounds Buffon and scores. But PSG hit back. That tiny glimmer of hope gone already. Or so they thought, as in the 30th minute, Rashford smashes one from range, Buffon spills it, and Lukaku's there again. 2-1 United. They were one goal from knocking out PSG in Paris. Now, Di Maria thought he'd killed it off with a chip in the second half, but was ruled offside. However, with time nearly up, United had one last roll of the dice as Dallot's shot from distance goes out for a corner. One last chance. A chance better than any fan could have hoped for, as behind the scenes, VAR spotted this. Penalty United. PSG couldn't believe it. It was the 94th minute and up stepped Marcus Rashford, 20 years old, born and bred in Manchester, facing Gianluigi Buffon. 3-1. Just like all those years before, this time as Manchester United manager, well, I'll let Darren Fletcher tell you.